The Senate is expected to vote Thursday on a two-year budget deal that would substantially increase spending and suspend the debt ceiling for a year. It is intended to avert a second government shutdown this year and gives lawmakers who wanted more money for the military a big win. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell Addison Mitch Mitchell McConnell Dems confront Kelly after he calls some immigrants lazy. McConnell, whoever gets to 60 wins on immigration overnight. Defense latest on spending fight. House passes stopgap with defense money while Senate nears two-year budget deal. Pentagon planning military parade for Trump. Afghan war will cost B in 2018 more. RKY. And Senate Democratic Leader Charles Schumer Charles Chuck Ellis Schumer got lawmaker Dems not standing for Trump is un-American. Trump called for unity. He didn't even last a week. Overnight defense got plays hardball by attaching defense funding to CR. US reportedly drawing down in Iraq. Russia, US meet arms treaty deadline. Why the military wants 6B from Congress. More. NY hailed it as a breakthrough after months of partisan fighting that stalled spending legislation and caused a three-day shutdown last month. This bill is the product of extensive negotiations among congressional leaders and the White House. No one would suggest it is perfect. But we worked hard to find common ground and stay focused on serving the American people, McConnell said on the Senate floor. Schumer said it marked the first sign of bipartisanship in months. After months of fiscal brinksmanship, this budget deal is the first real sprout of bipartisanship, he said. The accord increases defense spending by $80 billion in fiscal year 2018 and by $85 billion in fiscal year 2019, while raising non-defense spending by $63 billion and $68 billion. It suspends the debt ceiling until March of 2019, ensuring Congress won't have to deal with the legislative headache again until after this year's midterm elections. The Senate is expected to pass the deal on Thursday and send it to the House for final approval, hours before government funding is due to expire at midnight. The legislation has strong support in the Senate but faces a rockier path in the House, where conservatives don't like the big spending increases and Democrats want a promise from Speaker Paul Davis Ryan Connell whoever gets to 60 wins on immigration. Overnight defense latest on spending fight. House passes stopgap with defense money while Senate nears two-year budget deal. Pentagon planning military parade for Trump. Afghan war will cost B in 2018. House passes stopgap spending measure with defense money. More RWIs to debate immigration legislation soon. House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi Patricia D'Alessandro Pelosi got lawmaker Dems not standing for Trump is un-American. Rep. Gutierrez complete betrayal if Pelosi backs budget caps deal without DACA. Senate leaders say they're zeroing in on two-year budget deal. More Califf held the House floor throughout Wednesday to speak out on the need to protect hundreds of thousands of immigrants brought to the United States illegally as children. The battle over the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which Trump is phasing out, led to a three-day shutdown in January. The Senate bill includes no language on the issue, despite demands from Democrats. The Senate is set to debate a bill to protect so-called Dreamers from deportation in exchange for stronger border security, but there's no guarantee the House will act if it passes the upper chamber. Pelosi vowed to oppose the spending measure unless Ryan promises to take up immigration legislation, as McConnell promised to do next week, without a commitment from Speaker Ryan, comparable to the commitment from Leader McConnell. This package does not have my support, Pelosi said in a statement at the start of her marathon floor speech. House Republicans will likely need Democratic votes to pass the spending deal, as conservative Republicans are voicing objections to the big increases in spending and the lack of reforms attached to the debt ceiling increase. Ryan praised the package Wednesday for breaking the logjam on a number of priorities for the American people, and, in an attempt to mollify his right wing, promised future fiscal reforms. More budget reforms are needed, which is why we are laying the groundwork for a better process, he said. The deal establishes two committees to work on budget and spending reform, along with pension reform. Another bid to win over conservatives, it will make some structural reforms to Medicare and repeal Obamacare's Independent Payment Advisory Board, a cost control program that never got off the ground because critics argued it would take medical decisions away from doctors. Pro-defense Republicans heralded the defense increases as a major victory. This budget agreement is indispensable for our national security, Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman John Sidney McCain Connell. Whoever gets to 60 wins on immigration. Meghan McCain Melania is my favorite Trump, by far. Kelly says Trump not likely to extend DACA deadline. More errors. and House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mac Thornberry William Mac McClellan Thornberry Matties to Congress: "I'm wasting my time if you don't pass budget. Negotiators seek breakthrough under deadline for a Senate vote. Ryan budget fights have pushed military past the breaking point," Moore, Texas said in a joint statement. They argued it would provide our men and women in uniform with the training, capabilities, and support they need to keep America safe, but other GOP lawmakers raised concerns about the impact on the deficit. Senator Bob Corker Robert Bob Phillips Corker: "Pentagon war in Afghanistan will cost $billion in 2018. KT McFarland officially withdrawn as nominee for ambassador." KT McFarland withdraws as nominee for ambassador. Moore, Tennessee, an outspoken budget hawk, warned that it might be more money than the Pentagon can digest in 1 year. "Military spending and defense spending is far above the president's request," he said. "I'm all for supporting our military, and I want to make sure they're funded properly. It's very difficult to have that big an increase in 1 year and then be able to use it wisely." Federal deficit concerns weighed on Wall Street as well, where interest rates on treasuries have climbed in recent days, putting the stock markets in turmoil. Bond prices dipped and yields rose after McConnell announced the deal. The legislation would also provide $90 billion in disaster relief for communities hit by hurricanes and wildfires, more than double the Trump administration's request. It includes $23.5 billion for the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Disaster Relief Fund for recovery, repairs, and future mitigation, $28 billion for community development block grants, and $2 billion to help Puerto Rico rebuild its electric grid. Senate Republican Whip John Cornyn Dems confront Kelly after he calls some immigrants lazy. McConnell: "Whoever gets to 60 wins on immigration." GOP senators turning Trump immigration framework into legislation. Moore, Texas, called it an improvement over the House version. It also includes a 2-year reauthorization for community health centers, with $7 billion in total funding, and $6 billion to fight opioid addiction. Other funding priorities are $4 billion to rebuild veterans hospitals and clinics, $2 billion for research at the National Institutes of Health, and $20 billion for infrastructure programs. In a big win for Democrats, it extends funding for the Children's Health Insurance Program CHIP another 4 years on top of the 6-year extension that Congress approved last month. American families with children who benefit with CHIP will now be able to rest easy for the next decade, Schumer said. He said that seniors and children would also benefit from the deal's extension of various expiring tax provisions.